Hello, Year 5. Well, Mrs. Bevan has sent me your questions here. And I've got from Leslie Joyce, how long does it take you to write your books? Oh, how long is a piece of string? There's a book I wrote in 7 minutes, which isn't a very long book. and I knew the characters already, so that didn't take very long. And I've got other books I've been writing for 20 years. But I think... I really don't know. I think probably what you mean is how long does it take from when I actually sit down and start typing. So something like Dragon Gold, I don't know. You know, some people would take about a year over that, and I spend quite a bit of time thinking, and then I just sit down and I write. So I suppose the first draft I think took me about 10 days to 2 weeks, something like that. And I was just focused, writing. And then you have to edit and reread it and shape it and get it right. So I think the secret is just sitting down and writing. There's a great saying about the art of writing is the application of the seat of your trousers to the seat of your pants to the seat of your chair. And it's about sitting down and actually doing it. And once you just write the first draft, get it down, and then that's when the work starts and you kind of shape and get it all organised and sort it out. Editing is very important, so that takes time as well. Did you make the character Harry like drawing because you like drawing too? Yes, I did, and well spotted. I kind of had an idea at the time. I thought of showing children how to draw dragons and getting little eggs and putting them inside as well, and but I never managed to find the eggs to put them in. So there you are. Yes, well spotted. Is it possible for you to give our school a couple of your books to put in our library? Her question on is Vicky asked this too. Well, I think I might be coming back to visit your school, so yes, I think I can do that. Ethan, how many books do you sell in a year? Do you know, I have no idea. I used to count. Every year I get what's called royalty statements from my publishers, which tells me all the number of books that I've sold, and from that how much I get paid. And I used to write them all down, and they also not only tell you the ones who got sold, the ones that got returned, so sometimes you got paid for something and you have to give it back. And so I'd have to take away as well as add. And I used to do that. And I've no idea. I know I stopped counting. I don't know, I suppose when I stopped counting it was around about 20 million, something like that, and that's worldwide, lots of different languages, so it's quite a lot, isn't it? Yeah. Is it hard to write books? Ethan asks. I don't know. It's kind of what I do. I think when I started out, yes, I think it was a lot harder, and I think the more you do something, the better you get at it. You learn all the little tricks, and I think one of the things is kind of resilience and stamina for writing a book. I think if you're writing a very short book, you don't need too much stamina, I suppose. But to write a long book, you have to keep going. And the thing about being an author is you don't have a boss. There's nobody there making you write it. So I think it's about self-discipline and a desire to write something, and that you've got to have something you want to say, I suppose. And if you've got a story you want to tell, then you want to tell it, and you just get on and write it. So I think the hard bit is actually sitting down in the first place and getting started. Once I'm started, then my mind goes off into this new world with new characters and things, and then it's not hard at all. It's just telling the story. It's the actual sitting down and getting on with it. It's the difficult bit. Now, B asks, who is my favourite character out of all the books I've written? Finley asked this too. That will have to be the Ginger Ninja, because I am the Ginger Ninja. And when I wrote it, it was all about, because I know it doesn't look like it, but I have got ginger hair. And when I wrote the Ginger Ninja, it was all about remembering when I was young, having ginger hair and being kind of the odd one out at school, and people kind of called me names, and I didn't like being called names at all. They used to make me very angry. And so when I wrote the Ginger Ninja, it was all about remembering the turmoil, mental turmoil of being called names and losing temper and all that kind of thing. And it was kind of learning about, going back and remembering how I learned not to lose my temper, and I suppose in a way wanting to teach other people, young people, what I learned. But it's really difficult. If you want to do that, sometimes you kind of preach, and it's like you sort of stand up saying, I know best, this is what you want to do. And children won't listen to you if you do that. So you have to kind of write a story where, oh yes, they love this story, and at the end they go, now that's interesting. So that's a tricky thing, is to learn not to preach to children, to entertain, but leave them with a little thought inside. And it works with adults too. Now, what else have we got? Carl, where do you get your ideas from for your books and characters? I really don't know. It's like my dragon books that started. I was just asked to write a series set in Wales, so that kind of gives me the starting point. And obviously you start thinking about Wales and you start thinking about dragons, obviously, because they're on the flag. And I think, what is that red dragon? So I do a bit of research. That gives me some ideas. And I've lived in, I don't live in Wales now, but I have lived in Wales, and I visit lots of Welsh schools, and all sorts of things I think about, they all start coming together, and they kind of all build together into a story somehow. And it's kind of like 2 and 2 make 5. So when you get 2 ideas come with 2 ideas, you kind of get an extra one pop out, which is strange like that. So, but then again, you get things like there's a story I'm working on at the moment about a boy who can speak to dogs. And that all started, I was in a room at a book festival with lots of authors around, and somebody came and sat down next to me. We were in the author's room, and so I turned to them and said, oh, are you an author? And he said, oh no, he was Scottish. He said, no, I'm not an author. And he said, I'm here with my wife, she's the author. So I said, what do you do? And he said, I'm a dog whisperer. He's a Scottish man, and he said he's a dog whisperer, and this chill went through me. I thought, dog whisperer, somebody who can talk to dogs, and this idea just came into my head at that very, very moment. So so that's where ideas come from. But you see, other people would have gone, oh, that's very nice, and started talking about something very, very different, whereas I said to him, tell me more. And I think some people are just there waiting for ideas to happen, and as soon as they happen, they go ding, and they know there's an idea there. Sometimes it's not going to work, but you know there's an idea, and you have to kind of go with it and explore all the different angles and things, and sometimes move on. It doesn't work, but maybe a few years later, that idea comes together with another idea. Bing. And you get something completely new. So you have to keep exploring all these ideas, and it's being open to them, and just, if you trip up, you don't sort of go and stumble and fall and pick yourself up and go on. You trip up and you go back and say, what was that tripped me up? And you've got to be interested in things and explore all the time things that trigger off in your mind and go, what was that? That's an idea. And so I keep asking myself all the time, yeah, but what would happen if? And from that question comes ideas for stories. Does that make sense? I hope so. What else have we got? What is your favourite book that I haven't written? My favourite book of all time that I haven't written is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak, and that was the book that really inspired me to become a children's book illustrator right at the beginning when I was at art college. And Colin McNaughton used to teach us. He's a children's book, picture book author and illustrator, and he told me to go and look in the art college library at all these picture books, great big shelf of picture books. and I looked at them all, and then I came across Where the Wild Things Are, and it was like, oh my Lord. And it just did something to me, and it's still the book that inspires me, and it's the book that I want to be as good as maybe one day. And I'm not sure I ever will be. I think it's a superb book. I put it up there with Shakespeare and everything. I know it's just a little picture book, but it's a great work of literary art, and I think it'll be up there with Shakespeare still in 1,000 years' time. What's a favourite book that I haven't written? Otherwise, I used to read lots of kind of crime books and things like that, but I don't know. I kind of read all sorts of odd things at the moment. I'm reading kind of nature stuff at the moment. I think I got a bit bored with crime. I think so I used to like to read lots of crime stories, and then they started getting more and more violent and scary, and so I kind of stopped reading those. But there's one person I do like to read who's called James Lee Burke, who writes crime stuff set down in the deep south of America near New Orleans, and there's crime going on, but I just love the way he writes. I can smell all the smells while he's writing, because he describes the weather and the scenery and the smells of the scent of the sea coming in, all sorts of things like this. You just feel like you're there. So he's just a brilliant writer in that way. So I think it's not quite the book that I hadn't written, but I suppose that's the favourite book. So favourite book that I haven't written would have to be Where the Wild Things Are. And there we are. Many thanks for your time and patience. That's a pleasure. And Mrs. Bevan says, I might be coming back. So if I do, I'll see you then. In the meantime, work hard, read lots and lots and lots and lots, because that's the best way to learn how to write. Is just read. And I hope I'll see you again soon. Take care. Thanks for watching, and you can support this channel and get so much more on my Patreon page. Click to find out more. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube, and in the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.